till death. If you can hear me in the chat, see my face, make sure to hit the thumbs up button. Hello, everybody. Today is April 13, 2022, and I'm coming to you live from the Pissed Off Patriot Studios here in beautiful Olympia, Washington. And I say beautiful tongue-in-cheek because it is a hellhole here. I'm going to go over something very important today, something I've been hyping on for the last couple of days, something very near and dear to my heart. I want to show you the effects of leftism on our children. And I want to show you why it is so important to fight for our kids. And I'm also going to, I've turned the music down. We're good to go. Why it's so important that we continue this struggle against wokeism, against the liberal leftist bull crap that is being perpetrated on our children. But before we do that, please make sure to head over to popatriot.com right now. Sign up for the mailing list. It's free. It's literally free. There's nothing you have to pay for it. Because over 1,600 of you have signed up for it. And over 1,600 of you will be receiving an email this afternoon kind of describing what's going on in depth. The big thing is that, unfortunately, Facebook is stifling the feed. They are coming after conservatives, especially with people like Elon Musk trying to take Twitter. Facebook is really going to start to hammer down on conservatives, on right-leaning shows and podcasts and whatnot. I could say this with a full certainty because there's 28 people watching this stream right now. 28. Normally when we start to broadcast, there's upwards of 30, 40, 50 people just right off the bat. So with 28,000 followers on Facebook, it is not a coincidence that our feed is being stifled, that our feed is being pushed together, that they're going to copyright claim it, they're going to stifle, they're going to do whatever they can to prevent the streams and the shows from moving forward. So just buckle in. So if you haven't already, head over to popatriot.com. It's pretty easy. It's popatriot.com. Let's see if you can see that. You see the top right-hand corner right here? You just put in your email address and push subscribe. It's free. That's it. That's all I'm asking you to do. Okay, that's all you have to do. If you want to, you can become a member of the show. Starts off at a buck a month. I mean, really, geez Louise. You can do $1 a month to support the show. Now, one of the things that I wanted to talk about today is the over-sexualization of children. And this is something that is really near and dear to my heart because there is a there is a push by the left to indoctrinate your kids not only in schools but in media because of the fact that they are the future. They're the future voters, but also it helps to change the perception. Parents can say, hey, oh, my kid is transgendered, and so I'm, whatever. I want to be supportive. I don't want to be labeled a bigot. I don't want my kids to be ostracized, and so on and so forth. And this is happening more and more. There are more and more children that are being told in schools that if they feel like a girl, that must make them a girl. If they feel like a boy, that must make them a boy. Your gender is just an ideology, and it's just it's just a figment of your imagination. 28 people watching right now. That's it. 28 people. This is amazing. So I want to take a stand against this, and I think the best way to do it is to inform people and to get people excited about standing up for truth and standing up for the way things should be. Karen says, Grandma Bear will be showing her claws if you mess with my grands. Absolutely. It's because you're a good person. So let's dive into this. I announced yesterday the publishing date of the children's book is going to be the 1st of June. That's the goal. I'm working with an illustrator for a book called, here we go, Pedophiles Are Not People. And this is a preview of the book. So I'd like to show it to you real quick so you guys can see. Pedophiles are not people, and they should know when they get caught, into the wood chipper they'll go. And so that is one of the first illustrated pages that we've got going on for this children's book. Now, I don't know about you, but I like to address controversies. I like to address serious issues by joking about them because it opens people up to listen to this, to talk about it, to not be afraid. You see comedians like Dave Chappelle and the like talking about important issues, and they do it through jokes. Now the left is coming after comedians. Now the left is coming after anybody that dares to mock or ridicule or to make fun of the disgusting, degenerate nature of our society. And I want to kind of talk about a little bit, and this is a lot of, this is just a lot of lead up or whatever, but we're going to go to this. And I want to show that this has actually been going on for a while. Texas is sending boatloads of, yeah, that's true. They are. Good for Texas. Okay. Now, some of you know of a TV show on the Discovery Channel called I Am Jazz. If you haven't heard about this show that's still on Discovery, and it's been on Discovery for a very long time. So let's go to the Wikipedia page real quick because I want you guys to hear about this. What I'm seeing people saying names, but I don't know what is going on. Tony Irish. Oh, you're probably tagging people to come and watch the show. Appreciate that. Okay. So I Am Jazz was a television show. Pamela says BS. I don't know what BS is in reference to. I Am Jazz was a television show, or is a television show. It's an American reality television show on the TLC about a transgendered girl named Jazz Jennings. The series features Jazz and her family dealing with typical teen drama through the lens of transgender youth. I Am Jazz premiered on July 15th, 2015. Okay? Now, I'm no mathematician, right? I'm not good at math, but 2015 was how many years ago? 7 years ago. Okay? Now, 7 years ago. Hi, Sheila. 7 years ago. Now, Jazz is a biological man, boy, whatever. This is Jazz right here. Okay? I don't know if you guys can see it or not. Let me pull this up. This is Jazz right here. Jazz is a biological man, boy, whatever you want to call it, that was transitioned at an early age. This is Jazz in 2016. So this is a year after the show had begun. Okay, so this is a biological boy, see, whose parents allowed him to essentially pretend to be a girl. Now, Jazz is one of the most famous transgendered individuals in the United States. Now, remind you, this happened 7 years ago. Jazz is currently 21 years old, which means that Jazz, again, the name that this person is using, not their biological name, Jazz is a icon, right? But Jazz was not born Jazz. Jazz was actually born a boy, and his name, what was his name? It was like, what was it? Hold on, I'll find it real quick. Oh, and Jennings isn't their last name. Jennings is our pseudonym to sort of make life easier. We try to hide our real last name as much as possible. Jennings, mom told Janet. Our last name is very Jewish. Long last name. We found it easier at this point. She's known as Jazz Jennings on the TV show. Okay. Jazz, this is, and let me read this article to you because this is on a website called Show Cheat Sheets. And this is kind of, this is what the whole point of this is. Okay. So bear with me, guys. This is why this is important. Jennings' transition began when she was 5 years old, according to InStyle. 5 years old, they began to transition this boy into a girl. 5 years old. When it came to choosing her name, she looked to her big sister. Her sister portrayed Princess Jasmine in a school play. So Jennings went with the name Jazz based on the character. Although Jennings began her transition at age 5, she gravitated towards all things glittery and sparkly even earlier. In an Instagram post, Jennings shared a name she chose for herself at 3. Meet Sparkles, she wrote next to an incredibly adorable picture of Jennings. When I was 3 years old, I named myself that. I know. It sounds like something you name a pet. But I just loved everything sparkly, glittery, and shiny. And this is Jazz as a little boy dressed in a dress. Okay? So they were grooming this child from the age of 3 to transition into being a girl. Right? So they were grooming this child from 3 years old. Now, what 3-year-old knows what a boy is or a girl is? What 3-year-old? I know many 3-year-olds that know what a boy is and a girl is. But the reason why I'm saying this is because children do not pick this. This is thrust upon them. Anyway, looking at old photos helps me remind how precious I am. We're all so precious. Always look to yourself in such high regard. You are so valuable and deserving. Sparkles is here to say that life is fun and we all just have to let go and enjoy the ride, even if in the face of contrast. I don't know what that means. Okay. Jazz's real name, by the way, is Jared. So Jared, when he was 3, was told by his parents that because he likes dresses, that makes him a girl. And at the age of 5, he began to transition and picked a name Jazz based on a Disney character named Jasmine. Okay? This is sick and degenerate behavior. This is child abuse. All right? And then the media now is pushing the narrative that this is normal, that this is okay. This is the kind of stuff that we have to stop. Right? Like I said, pedophiles are not people. They should know that when they get caught, into the wood chipper they go. If you are transitioning a child at 3 years old, you're a pedophile. You're a sick human being. You're a disgusting, degenerate piece of filth. And his parents should have had him and his sisters taken away. Now, I'm going to do a real quick research real quick, okay? As Jennings' siblings, okay? Here are Jazz Jennings' siblings. There we go. She arrived in the spotlight when Barbara Walters interviewed her about being a transgendered child. Okay. How old is she? Is she the youngest? Let's see. Because what I feel like happened, and I could be wrong, is Jazz the youngest child? Let's see. Jennings discussed her sexual orientation, saying she was romantically attracted to boys, but she harbored some apprehension about dating because of her transgender identity, so she's gay. Now she's saying that she's pansexual. She loves people for their personality, regardless of sexual orientation. In 2013, Jennings publicly discussed her wish of becoming a mother in the future. That's never going to happen. She had to lose 30 pounds in order to have what they call gender confirmation surgery, which is when you cut a child's penis off, or sex reassignment. So they're changing the terms in order to make them sound more palatable. Like if I came to you and said, "Hey, your child needs to have gender confirmation surgery," you'd be like, "What is that?" But if I came to you and said, "Hey, your kid needs to have his dick cut off," you'd be like, "No." Right? So they changed the terms. But anyway, so why am I getting on this? Because this child, this person, this individual was groomed from an early age to believe that he was a girl. His parents put this on him. His parents groomed him into this lifestyle. And now he, she, it, whatever you want to call it, is dealing with emotional and psychological issues because of it. This is what Jazz Jennings looks like today. Ready? Does that look like a mentally healthy, physically healthy individual? It doesn't, does it? Why? Because when he was the age of 17 is when he went through the gender reassignment surgery. He's gained over 100 pounds. Having all this extra weight, I can't do so many things with my body that I was used to be able to do. And this is his mom. I do experience fat shaming from my family. Guys, this is grooming. This is grooming. This is a child being pimped out by her family, his family, in order to get social media cred, in order to get interviews on television, in order to get book deals. These parents abuse their kid in order to sell the lie that this child, who I believe, and I don't know if Jazz is the youngest. I'm pretty sure that he has two older brothers. And yeah, he has an older sister. So I'm pretty sure what happened was his mom was like, I've got 3 boys, I want 2 girls. Right? So it's you're grooming your kids when you do these things. Right? So they started transitioning this boy when he was 5, started affirming him at 3, and then they moved up the chain to the point when he was 17 years old, he had his dick cut off. Now, I don't know about you, but this bullshit has to stop. It has to stop. That's right, Cheryl. But I don't know about you. But when I see stuff like this, I think, yeah, that's not normal. But the media is trying to push this onto you and tell you that if you think that this is wrong, that if you think that this is evil, if you think that this is unacceptable, if you think that this is one of those situations where it's all just live and let live, I'm sorry, but this is not the way that reality works. It's not. It's not. And it's disgusting. So this is the reason why I'm writing the book, Pedophiles Aren't People. This is the reason why I think it's important that we continue to call this what it is. It's degeneracy. It's disgusting. It's wrong. It's child abuse. We have to continue to call these things what they are, because the longer that this continues, the longer that this goes, the more acceptable it becomes. And when it becomes acceptable, then it becomes the norm. And when it becomes the norm, your children are targets. Not that they aren't already. Not that they aren't already. That's right. The devil comes only to kill, steal, and destroy. So the book, Pedophiles Are Not People, is coming out. It's a children's book that I'm publishing June 1st. Anyone who supports the show will receive a free digital copy pretty soon. Pretty simple. You can go to popatriot.com. You can join for $1 a month to support the show, or you can pledge whatever you want. And if you do, you'll get a digital copy of the book when it's released. I'm very excited about this. And I think that, again, in order to combat the left and to combat the narrative, you have to be able to laugh at them, because they cannot handle when you laugh at them. They cannot handle when you make jokes about them. They can't handle this. And that's how you win. Okay? Now, yesterday I talked in the live stream about another instance. Somebody's looking into my car. That's a little whatever. About the Coulter rule. This is what got me taken off of YouTube, or not YouTube, but off of Facebook a couple days ago. Or no, it was yesterday. Oh, somebody just sent me this. Oh, let's show this. This is breaking news. Because this is one of the reasons why we're talking about this, is because Disney has embraced this woke ideology and bullshit. By the way, TLC is owned by Discovery. Discovery owns CNN. Go figure. Americans turn their back on Disney after gay pride embrace. 7 in 10 Americans upset with Disney's embrace of the LGBTQ movement no longer want to do business with Mickey Mouse and instead will seek out family-friendly alternatives, according to a new survey. The latest data says 68.2% of voters are now less likely to do business with Disney. Of those, 57.2% are much less likely to buy from the entertainment giant known for its kid-friendly parks and movies. That is bad news for Disney and good news for us. And maybe, just maybe, when you start hitting the mouse in his wallet, change comes. Now, yesterday I said that the Coulter rule was now in effect. And if you guys remember what the Coulter rule is, the Coulter rule essentially says anytime that a media hysteria, massive, whatever you want to call it, like a mass shooting or whatever, comes out, the first thing the media does is they hope and pray that it was a white person that did it, right? If it turns out that it was a African-American or a minority or a Muslim, if this was Islamic terrorism, it goes away. Now, let me ask you guys a question. If you go to the New York, if you looked up the New York City subway killer yesterday, you would see a bunch of articles about people saying that this was caused by ghost guns, that this was a white supremacist, like they were hoping and praying that that's what it was. Turns out, none of that was true. Just like I said, as the Coulter rule is always in effect, if they refuse to identify the race of the person involved in the shooting, then it is usually not a white nationalist or a Trump supporter. And it's funny how that always worked out. Here we go. Breaking news. Mass casualty developing. There's our guy. There's the dude right there. Right? Frank James, identified as the shooter. Okay, he was arrested in Manhattan. Here he is being hauled away. Looks like a white supremacist to me. Right? There he is being arrested. Here he is. Walking to the I don't know if you guys can see this or not. Sorry about that, guys. Hold on one second. Let me pull this up. Here he is being arrested. This is him doing a manifesto. So here he is being arrested. See him? That's him getting in the car. So he was arrested in Manhattan. Here's a video of him getting onto the subway. He was dressed up like a worker.
That appears to show suspect Frank James on his way to allegedly carrying out the Brooklyn subway shooting.
There he is.
The video shows James wearing a reflective vest, wheeling a cart down the street and carrying a bag.
Okay, so there's that. Now, his YouTube channel, they took down the videos of him saying that he's a black supremacist or whatever. This is here's a video of him ranting against white people.
And I tell American Negro this, I keep telling you the same thing. White people and black people, as we call ourselves, should not have any contact with each other. You still refuse to understand this. You want to make up some fucking story about some Jesus and the Bible said dumb shit. They don't see it that way. They hate your fucking guts.
So here he is talking about white people are evil, right? Here are some of his social media posts. He's a messenger of Allah, Black Lives Matter, holding the gun. Black Liberation Army. It's going to obviously these things will be scrubbed. Frank James, the Brooklyn mass shooter, a person of interest, made disturbing posts recently suggesting he was going to kill people. Okay? Here is lots of Malcolm X references in the 3 videos that he's posted on YouTube. His YouTube channel has been taken down, by the way. Strong hatred for America. After perusing through the New York City shooter's YouTube channel, I got to say, he's a schizo.
There's no Negro qualified to tell you about the quality, the quantity
of what they consider to be a fucking man to be. Because a nigga, excuse my expression, has never been allowed to be a man in this society holding complete. Never.
Right? Here's the carnage afterwards. People being shot, blood on the ground. Thankfully, no one was killed. Right? Manhunt underway for suspect on attack. Black male, 5'5", wearing construction vest. Now, how did the media handle this? Look at the subway. Blood. Well, that's Fox, so of course they'll say it. But how did the media handle this? There were people on Twitter saying that they hoped that this was a white guy. So, guys, they're not hiding the ball anymore. And I'm sure that this is going to get taken down by YouTube. Of course it's going to. Like, why wouldn't it be? I'm saying things that are controversial. I'm sure Facebook has a problem with what I'm saying, but that's the case. 51% of the murders in this country are committed by 13% of the population. When they openly come out against white people and against MAGA supporters, they are hidden from the media. But if the reverse was opposite, they would be plastered all over the place and people would be screaming for their end. Screaming. And so I'm not saying that this is a good thing, but I am saying that this just shows the bias of the media and mainstream tech, how they stifle and censor whenever they can. Because if they can hide the story, then they can get away with it. And